broadcasting Furry Truth and great guests live from. Whoop, are we live? No, we're not. But anyway, broadcasting Furry Truth from a Comics Box and Secret. This is Furry Frequencies, your favorite furries on the highest frequency. I'm Lifty, and joining me on the podcast this evening is Psylocke.
Hey, how's it going?
And tonight we have a very comfy podcast with a very cool cat. We are actually talking tonight with Coopertom about VR. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Hey, how's it going? It's Coopertom. I've been around for a while. I mean, you probably see me at conventions running around and doing stuff and making videos, but I've adapted to this whole COVID situation and moved into the virtual space. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah. How long have you been on in the furry community again?
I joined the summer of 2009, but I lurked for like 10 years. I didn't really do much. I just kind of looked, watched and stuff like that. But then eventually in 2009, I just dived all in and went and got a fursuit and went to Anthrocon that year, and I was hooked. So
nice. Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this evening. It is really an honor to be talking with you. So recently, in the age of coronavirus, we've all noticed that one of the things that have taken off as we are all isolating from each other until it is safe to go back to meets and conventions and all that. One thing that has taken off is VR chat. And VR chat has, of course, exploded in popularity in the furry community. Lots of furries love to create their own personas and actually mingle with other furries in a virtual atmosphere. It has, of course, grown so popular that there are even conventions that have made actual spaces that are replicas of their own spaces. In the real world, they've made replicas of their own spaces, and they've been able to recreate in virtual space their own events and have furries mingle that way. And you have stood out. You've definitely taken VR chat and made it your own. You've made your own persona in there. You've made your own avatar. You made your own worlds.
Yeah.
And so take us through what you do with VR chat, because it's very fascinating. It's very fascinating to see what you do.
Yeah, I used VR chat when it first started. It was like in 2018, and it was just like, it was okay. It was fun, but the whole presence of furries on there wasn't that great to begin with, and it was like, it was hit or miss. You could find somebody or anything like that. But back in March, I was like, all right, let me, go back onto VR chat, and I started posting these videos, and people were like, "Oh my god, what is this?" And I'm like, "It's VR chat. It's been around for a while." And yeah, so it kind of blew up. And the interesting thing is, for years of using this, I never really occurred to me that I could make things in VR chat, because at the time when I looked at it, I'm like, this is way too complicated. I don't know. I'm not a 3D programmer. I'm not a game designer. I don't know any of this stuff. So the whole idea of making world was completely foreign to me. But with being stuck in the house and nothing else better to do, I decided to download Unity and start poking around with it. And one night I just made the cursed birthday photo that kind of went viral a couple of years prior to this, and I made that in VR chat, and people were going nuts, and I was like, oh my god. And so that got me hooked on just making all these different virtual environments and things like that.
Yeah. So you said that you use Unity to build your VR chat environments, correct?
Yeah. Everything it works hand in hand with VR chat. There's a special like a package, like an SDK that you get from VR chat, and it installs itself into a Unity project, and whatever you make in a Unity project, you can upload right into VR chat. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. And and how long have you been doing this? Because it definitely seems like what I've noticed is that whenever a certain environment or a certain setting, it becomes a meme, or it becomes just something or something is being talked about in the furry blogosphere and in the furry Twitter sphere, and then, like, in a matter of hours, you've already made it in VR chat.
Yeah, like the whole thing was like I liked making just like I made the shopping mall and stuff like that, and that was fun. But then it occurred to me, like I was scrolling through Twitter, and I start seeing these funny pictures or funny areas or something that somebody's talking about, and then I'm immediately thinking of a way that I could incorporate that into VR chat in a way. So even this last week was with the GameStop thing. So I immediately added a GameStop to the mall that I'd previously made, and you can go in there and click a button, and it starts raining money, and there's piles of cash everywhere. It's great. So yeah, I love finding that that last minute thing that people are talking about, and I'm like got to make it in VR chat.
Yeah. I mean, it is awesome to see all of this in VR chat, and I enjoy seeing your videos. Now, when you create these videos, I of course I love to hear a lot of what you're saying in the videos, because you're a master quick wit, and I do have to ask, do you rehearse for any of those videos that you do on VR chat?
No, I never rehearse. Like everything I've ever, I mean, there's maybe 10% of what I post on YouTube that's actually rehearsed, but most of my videos, even prior to VR chat, everything is just ad lib and off the cuff and spur of the moment kind of thing. So I think that's what people really enjoy, is my genuine reaction to things, especially when I'm exploring a world or describing something. I just see it, and then that's how it comes out, and that's it. I don't rehearse or anything like that. So
okay. Now, in VR chat, are there a lot of furries that just come at you, or they just they notice you, and then they suddenly want to like pose with you, or do this or that?
It's definitely changed. Because I've been on VR chat since 2018, and it was, once in a while someone would be like, "Oh, I remember you from a convention" or something like that. And it's now turned into, if I just go into like a public room or something like that, people are like, "Oh my God, that's the cat, that's the guy from the videos," and it's so surreal, because that kind of used to happen at conventions with regular YouTube videos, and now I'm in VR chat and it's happening all over again. So yeah, it's such a strange experience, because it has that same vibe to it as being at the convention, where people are recognizing me from this stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, nice.
So I did want to ask, how long on average does it take you to make some of these like worlds and locations? It's like, I think it was you who did the Four Seasons landscaping thing, if I'm remembering correctly. If not, please correct me.
Yeah,
And,
that's it.
and I know you did the mall as well. Like, how long does it generally take you to do all that?
It all depends on the level of detail and exactly like the makeup of the scene. The Four Seasons, if I broke that down, because it's basically just a box with some windows in it, and I think I made that in like 4 hours or 4.5 hours, because it was such a spur of the moment, like flash in the pan thing that people were talking about, and I said I can't waste any time really nitpicking and getting this perfect, because by the time I get this ready in like 3 days, it's going to be done and over with. So I had to make it that night and get it out that night. So I kind of rushed through that, and I think that was like 4.5 hours. But things like the mall, each one of those stores is like a mall. I wasn't even thinking of that when I was designing it, because I was like, oh, I want to make an 80s mall. And I started making it, and then I realized, like, oh crap, I have to put all the stuff in these stores. I have to make the shelves. I have to make the cash registers. So like, the mall is just this ongoing project, and it just never ends. But the way I designed the mall too expandability. I made things like modules where the stores, there's 3 different shaped stores, and you can plug them together like Legos. So I roughed out the whole mall in one night. Like, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours, but to fill it with stuff, that's what takes the time. Yeah.
Okay. And now, does this take a lot of computer power, or do you have to have like a very powerful computer to do all of this? Because all I do want to get into VR chat and explore VR worlds, but I just got a laptop, and I really don't look. I look at my laptop and I'm like, I don't think that this is going to handle VR.
Yeah, the biggest misconception is that you need to have a VR headset to use VR chat, which you don't. You can use it as a desktop mode. And under desktop mode, I think the requirements are less than what the minimum requirements are, because for VR, when that was initially kicked, when they started this, the minimum requirement was like a GTX 970 with like 4 gigs of RAM. And that's just the bare minimum for VR. So you can use VR chat with that, but anything above that should work pretty fine. And on my computer that I'm using for VR, I purposely built this for VR when it came out, because I was a Kickstarter for Oculus. I had the dev kit and stuff before like it actually hit the market, and I purposely built this for VR. And my computer's 5 years old now, and I haven't really done any upgrades to it. So it's all dependent on what you really are trying to experience, because you can get into VR with very minimum specs. As long as you have like a graphics card, you can do it. But when you want to consider VR, then you got to look at least a GTX 970.
Okay. Yeah. And so do you still have the Oculus? Is that what you currently use for your VR chat adventures, or do you use a headset?
Yeah, I'm still using the original Oculus CV1 that I got in the summer of 2015. So it's getting my money's worth out of it. So it's still going.
Oh, yeah.
It still works fine.
Yeah. Nice. And let me see. So beyond VR, you're also an avid automotive collector, because I've noticed there are several very nice vehicles in your garage.
Yeah, I'm a car nut, absolute car nut. My whole life, like my dad used to mess with cars and stuff, and then that got me hooked, and now so I always am looking for like these good deals, barn finds, project cars, and I'm always looking for the best deal and things like that. So I like to collect some weird stuff, I got Delorean, I got a VW bus, I got a Volkswagen Beetle, I have a Yugo, like all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Now you also have in that collection a Geo.
Not anymore. No, I actually sold the Geo, but I used to have. I had a '96 Geo Metro. That was a 3-cylinder 5-speed, and that was the best car I have ever owned. Like, it was the cheapest and the best car. The parts were cheap. It was easy to fix. I got rid of it because I was just running out of space, and I was kind of getting bored of it. There was nothing wrong with it. But my dad's friend needed a car and stuff, so I was like, you know what? I knew that was a really good car, and I sold it to him. But I used to have a Geo Metro. Those are really good cars.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at you were mentioning about the number of cars on Twitter that you own, and I looked at the very end, and it's like you named a DeLorean, you named a several MGs, you named a Triumph TR7, but the Geo, that's what got me hooked. I'm like, oh, yeah, you got a Geo.
Yeah,
I need to know more about the Geo.
Yeah, and I really wasn't looking for it. It was a good deal. It was one of those things like I'm like, I cannot not buy this. It was like car was like $1,000, and it was in really good shape. And so I ended up buying it, and I had it for like 10 years. The car was great.
Yeah, great.
So if you could have any car in the world, what would it be?
Ooh, I mean, there's so many. Actually one of my personal favorites is, I think, the BMW M1. They made like 20 of those cars or something like that, and it looks absolutely amazing. And it's just one of those things. It's just like it's impossible. You'll never be able to get one of those. So that's my dream car.
Nice. So yeah, you were talking about the BMW M1. It was actually while I was doing my deliveries for my work that I was going to one of my customers' jobs, or one of our customers for drop off, and then right next door to their shop is a BMW shop, and right there, right in front of it, was this like midnight blue M1, and I'm like, what is this doing here? What is this doing here? It looks amazing. What is it doing here? Just parked out in the front.
I've never even seen one in the wild. That's how rare that car is.
Yeah, I took some photos, sent up to Silox, and like, check this out. Like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely understand you wanting an M1, because I mean, I think that one that I've seen is probably going to be the only one I'm ever going to see again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and look, unless you hit the lottery and somehow manage to, drop a good amount of cash on an M1, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Never. I'm not going to find that in a barn or something like that, and old lady has it, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, how many of your vehicles were barn finds?
We got four of them. Yeah. They it just the one, like, I had the MG Midget, and that one was great because that car only has like 30,000 miles on it, and the guy got into an accident in 1989 and threw it in the garage and never fixed it. And I was like, he was moving, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing with that car? He's like, all right, you want to get it out of here? And so I was doing him a favor, and it was just like I fixed the fender, fixed the dents on it, and it's a fine car. The Yugo too. That was in a barn out in Pennsylvania. The car was brand new. The clutch cable snapped like the second year he had it, and he was like, all right, screw it. And he threw it in the barn, and it left it. That car has like 20,000. When I found it, it had like 20,000 miles on it. So like, it's and even the TR7, the same thing. The guy bought it, and he bought a convertible one, and he didn't like the hardtop, and he just put that in the barn, and then it kept getting stuff thrown on it, and it just sat there since 1990. It was like, that's got 30-something thousand miles on it. So I love barn finds.
Yeah, I mean, I if I could find a barn find, I would be just like going crazy for one. But I think the hardest thing is just finding a barn that has something rare and valuable inside that's just collecting dust and dirt and just being neglected. And
yeah,
do you have to like travel a lot, or do you get leads?
Well, it's funny, like, because me and my friend KG, we both do the same thing. When we're driving, like, we're constantly scanning, like, in people's yards and stuff. Like, we're driving by, and I'm always like, oh, that's an old funky house. Let me see if there's anything in the back. I'm like always doing that. And it's just this mindset. Like, you just get this vibe, and like, there's got to be something cool back there, And sometimes there is. So yeah, me and KG do that like all the time. And he'll call me up and even tell me like, oh, there's this house over on this corner. I'm like, oh yeah, with the beetle in the back. And he's like, yeah. Like we even find the same stuff. It's the funniest thing.
Oh, nice. I mean, one of these days, I'm probably this summer, assuming everything clears up this summer, I would just love to just drive around and see if there's any barn finds that I could snag.
Yeah, they're out there. I mean, unfortunately, it's getting more crazy because there's a lot of that on YouTube now and a lot of shows about it. It used to be easier because people were just happy that you'd come and take that junk car out of their yard, but now everybody thinks they have gold, and it's getting tricky. Damn YouTube.
Yeah. I remember watching this one episode of Hoarders. This one lady, she had all of this stuff hoarded all over her house, all over her garage, and in that garage was a DeLorean DMC-12, and I'm like, oh, please don't tell me the 1-800 junk guys just took that.
Yeah, take that away. Yeah.
Oh my God, I would I would pay to take that.
It's like, I'll do you a favor. I'll pay you, and I'll take the car.
uh, uh. And so tell us about your persona, because from what I can see, it's just a cat, but I'm sure there's more to it than that.
That's actually the reason I absolutely love it, is because it's just a cat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When I started in the fandom, and you know, I was just looking, you know, there's all these different types of animals and things, and I know I always enjoyed animated cats in films and movies and things like that, and I was like, you know what, I'll do this, because even back in 2009, like there wasn't any like cats. There was nothing. There was like, it was like a small handful. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll do this, and yeah, and it just stuck, and I had a design, but Jiller from JillCostumes.com, I just totally gave her the whole, you know, go design it, do whatever you want with it, you know, totally artistic, you know, license to just do whatever she wanted, and she totally surprised me with the whole markings and everything like that, and it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I mean, it is a great persona.
Thanks.
You know, there's nothing. There's no like wild coloring. There's no like spikes or
No, it's just
yeah. It's just a cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sometimes like keeping it simple is like the best thing.
Yeah.
And yours is very simple, and it works, and it's very memorable.
Yeah, it's funny. All the years of using that character, it just, you get so associated to it. So people like they're like, that's you. That's who you are. And it's just like, yeah, I guess it just kind of evolved. And yeah, it's really strange how that works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've seen you at conventions before, and I have to say, when you're out suiting, you have so much energy. It is just like, how do you do it? How do you have so much energy? Tell me you drink like a ton of Monster before you go out in fursuit.
Oh no, man. I am just so excited to be there. Like, because most of the conventions I go to, we're doing a road trip, and by the time I get there, I'm so amped up to just do everything. So like, it's just, everything's amazing, and I'm like, oh my god, here you are, you know, blah blah blah, and so yeah, I'm just totally wired. And the funny thing with the Monster thing, because I remember it was FWA 2010. Monster was was like a sponsor or something for FWA that year, and they just had giant tubs of Monster energy drink everywhere. And I was like, why do I get water in the Headless Lounge when I can just drink Monster? And I was drinking Monster that entire con. I was shaking by the end. It was oh my god, it was nuts. I should never do that again. But that was a bad idea. But yeah, I just love you know, just performing and stuff like that. And even when I'm in suit, like, they're just in the back of your head, you're just constantly like, even if you're not doing something, you just gotta just keep moving, because like you look like because you're in a character, and you gotta just keep moving no matter what. Even if you're just sitting there, just do something, you know. So I'm always thinking about that. So I'm always moving constantly, you know, just thinking.
Yeah. So you bring up an interesting story that I remember from the time when I and Silox were at Capital Pride. And Silox, you had a few too many energy drinks there.
Yes, I did. I was bouncing off the wall. My heart was pounding out of my chest. It was crazy. To this day, I will never touch energy drinks ever again.
Well, no, I think the problem is that when you make energy drinks free, that's when it's a problem.
That's how it gets you.
That was actually the first time I had ever tried an energy drink. Prior to that, I could never have them because the meds I took, they would react horribly with them. Just what my doctor said. But, you know, this was the first time I tried an energy drink, and that was the last time. I don't care if it's free. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, that was the weird thing. Like, most stuff doesn't really like affect like coffee and caffeine and stuff. Like it doesn't do anything. So the whole idea of an energy drink, when I first drank it, I'm like, this isn't gonna do anything. And I drank it one, and I was like, oh my god, it does. It makes you bounce off the walls. I was like, what? And the same thing, like my heart was feeling kind of weird and stuff, and I was like, all right, like I haven't really touched those in a couple of years now, but yeah, they definitely have something in them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So back on VR chat, I remember that you were in this one compilation video, a VR chat compilation video, where you were exploring like this. You were tiny, and you were just exploring this grassy field with a giant New Balance shoe in it. Did you make that? Did you make that world, or is that somebody else?
I wish I did. It was genius. No, that was I'm not sure who made that, but what you can do is there's this thing you can scan objects like with like cameras or something. You can do these 3D scans of things, and somebody just 3D scanned a New Balance shoe, and they just blew this thing up to the size of like an apartment building, and yeah, you could totally just climb through it. It was really cool. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids stuff, and it was interesting. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was not my doing though, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was a great little setting, and I was just so amazed by how detailed the shoe was. I mean, even the New Balance logo was just scuffed out in the inside of the shoe, and I'm like, how?
Because that is literally someone's shoe. Like they were wearing it, and they took it off, and they 3D scanned it, and it's like you get close to it, you see all the dirt and just the wear on it and stuff. So it's really cool to see stuff like that, because people will scan their rooms, and there's all these different things you'll find on VR chat, and sometimes the resolution isn't there, so it looks like kind of like mud. Kind of, it's really weird looking if you don't do it right. But the New Balance shoe, they really went all out and scanned every little inch of that.
So, what are your thoughts on new technologies that are coming into virtual reality? Like, I remember that Apple is about to launch their own VR headset, and I'm thinking that they're going to probably just completely change the game, bring in a lot of new people into the concept of VR, and I wanted to just get what you thought.
Yeah, VR is such a weird medium, because it's like when you always see the next thing coming, you kind of can gauge, oh, this is the direction it's going to go in. But when VR came out, it's not like a movie, it's not like some type of media player. It's something that you wear on your face. So it's not really something that works well with multiple people in a room. It's not like, oh, hey, you want to come over and play VR? Because it doesn't really work that way. So it's just a strange thing to try to gauge where it's going to go. And it's not everybody's comfortable with the idea of having something on your face and in 3D, and there's motion sickness and things that you have to get over. So to adopt it isn't that straightforward. And I think especially with Apple, they would have to polish it so much in a way that you can just buy this thing and put it on your face. It's really hard to see where they're gonna take it. I have no idea. And even as far as VR chat, like I'm not sure like what else can you do with it. I mean, there's games that are fun and things like that, but you get to a point where you can't tell where it's gonna go. It's really weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that brings up something that I want to ask you now. Given what we've seen because of the pandemic, with the rise of a lot of these furry conventions and furry events taking place on VR chat, do you think VR chat is sustainable in terms of as a place for virtual conventions in the future, in a post COVID world?
Yeah, I think there definitely. I mean, if we get when we get back to normal, there's going to be a huge drop off. I don't think everybody's going to constantly be migrating back to VR chat for virtual conventions. Maybe there'll be a virtual alternative to the real convention for people that can't afford to go, and they might incorporate some type of panels and things like that, or some type of videos that you can watch in a VR space. So I think VR chat would be like a supplement to real conventions when they start spinning back up. And it's interesting too, because there's even with as far as virtual conventions, it's not just furry conventions, but there's different companies and things that are looking to like lease space in virtual spaces for presentations and things for businesses to work with. So there is this aspect of where there can be money made with like leasing like a virtual convention space. But as far as it going to being a replacement, I don't think that it would be really a thing once we get back to normal. So yeah.
Because me and Lifty, we've debated on numerous times where we're trying to see if this is sort of a sustainable thing post COVID, or if it's only big because it's an option to hang out with people that you can't see because of the pandemic.
Yeah. I think because right now, I mean, this is it fits the bill for what we're dealing with, and it's also interesting too. I've seen in VR chat like different musical performances and things where VR chat actually allocates resources and server power to bigger conventions, so you can actually contact them and work with them to get like this bandwidth to actually handle conventions. So they're willing to do it. It's kind of there, but who knows?
Yeah. So, like Salak said, we've been debating on the role that VR chat will play in conventions going forward, and I really do think that in the future, conventions will set up a space in VR chat so that you can attend, even if you're not actually at the convention. You can attend in VR chat, even if you already are in the convention. And there will be activities that people can do on VR chat so that it actually creates a new level of enjoyment, a new level of the convention experience that people will want to actually engage in. So I don't think that this is just a fad that is here just because of the pandemic. I think it's here to stay. And I do believe that conventions are going to pick up on this, and they're going to make something out of it. They're definitely going to make something out of it. I mean, it's already there. They just gotta implement it.
Yeah. And I think some of them have actually did that last year and are thinking of doing it this year. Like Furthermore is considering, I don't know if they're going to go through with it or not, but they're considering doing a furry convention solely on VR chat.
Yeah, they're looking for
world, but
well, right now they are looking for VR chat experts and renderers, artists, whoever that can help out with that. So who knows if anybody has any expertise that they would like to lend to Furthermore for this endeavor, free to check out furthermore.org and just shoot them an email and see where that goes. Just tune their horn for them, because I don't know if they're going to do anything VR related this year, because this is their first virtual year, but who knows. And Salas, you wanted to touch on other things?
Just wanted to say that, I see a lot of, I think VR chat and VR in general has been such a great way for the furry fandom to come together when we can't really meet up during a pandemic. And so I personally I've only played VR chat, I think, like 5 minutes, and the reason I didn't do more was because my computer could not run it at all. It was laggy and stuttering, But I have a new computer now that can probably run it. So most of the people I know are on VR chat, and I definitely want to give it a shot. It
Yeah.
does seem very interesting. All the worlds that people make and the activities that they can do.
Yeah, as soon as I build a desktop, I'm gonna see about getting into it as well. Because yeah, it's definitely something that's very interesting and very beautiful. It's just my computer just I don't think that my computer can handle it. And I really want to get into it. So this might actually prompt me to actually build a computer of my own.
Now, Coopertom, did you make your own model, or did someone make it for you?
Well, I was thankful because I was ready to commission and do some other things, and Cloud Husky just surprised me with it one night. Because I just it was like my first or second week when I came back to VR chat, and I was running around, and he just made it, and he was hiding in the floor of this world, and someone was like, "Oh, come up to this room and look at this cool mirror in this VR world." So I'm up there, like looking at the mirror, talking, and he just comes like floating out of the floor with my avatar, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it was so surreal." And yeah, so yeah, and he's done revisions, and then other people have helped me add different features and things to it. So even when you get a custom avatar, that's not just the end of it, because you can constantly just modify it and add things and tweak it, and it's endless because it's all handled in Unity. So if you have the file to the avatar, you can essentially do whatever you want with it. So yeah, that's a really cool creative aspect of it too.
Nice. And then I think we mentioned in another VR episode, we mentioned that there's infinite scalability of the VR or of the VR avatars. You even made a video about this, where the avatars just kept getting smaller and smaller to see who could be the smallest one.
Oh
Boy.
yeah, yeah. That's you can have multiple versions of your avatar. You can upload it multiple times. You can add infinite amount of menus and expressions, and yeah. So you see a lot of people on there that they'll have like a giant version of their avatar, then they'll have a really tiny version of their avatar. And it's funny because you'll see that, and people are like, "Oh!" And as soon as people start breaking out the tiny avatars, everybody starts getting tiny avatars, and so you can get the smallest. So yeah, it's really funny.
I mean, Silas, that would be great for you. You're a macro, so you could just like blow yourself up and crush everything.
And
okay, all of these tiny avatars. Okay, here's my foot.
And what's really amazing, when you change the scale of your avatar, like your scope, like of your perspective of the scale, it changes. So like you're in a room, and if you get a really tiny avatar, all of a sudden you're walking in a room full of giants. Like your whole perspective changes in that. And even when you get really huge, you look like you're looking at like a little train set. Like it's bizarre how the VR works, because your vision actually changes with the scale. Like it's insane.
Nice. So let me see. I guess one last question. There's quite a lot of things that inspired you to build some of the worlds that you've shown, like the Four Seasons landscaping. That was obviously brought up by current events, but you've also it also seems like you're inspired by 80s motifs and elements from the 80s. Like, tell us about that.
Oh yeah. Well, as a kid growing up in North Jersey, surrounded by malls, that was the thing. I went with my mom to all these malls in the 80s, and I absolutely loved going to the mall, and just the designs and the styling, and everything was really, really cool. And as I got older and I got my driver's license, and this was in like the early 2000s, my friends and I used to travel around to old shopping malls to see 80s stuff before they tore it out. So like we were constantly analyzing this stuff all the time. I loved that stuff. And so I had like this cache of ideas from things I saw that were, that have been renovated over the years. So I thought it was a really cool opportunity, especially with the mall, to kind of replicate all these little things that I remember from the 80s and stuff like that. Because, I mean, to see it in 3D and VR, it's really cool because some people will never get to see that stuff, and so, that's the closest I can get to it.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I see these mall motifs from like the 80s, it always, I didn't grow up in the 80s. I was born in 89. So when I did grow up, I was, of course, going to different types of malls. Malls were changing. Malls became more open. And so these 80s motifs that you get inspired from, really only exist in malls that when I would walk through them, they're on the brink of closure.
Oh yeah.
And it's sad to see that, these were once very vibrant buildings. They were the place to be at some point in time. And now, there's hardly anybody here. There's light bulbs that are flickering. There's broken tiles. There's empty storefronts, et cetera, and it's just, it's a sad sight. But yeah, whenever I look at your malls in VR, it's just like, oh wow, it's vibrant again.
This is what it could have been.
It could have been this. Just fill it with tiny animals.
Tiny animals. 80s malls.
Return it
tiny
to
animals.
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silox, you got an you want to say anything? Hello?
Speechless. Absolutely speechless.
Sorry. I got pulled away real quick by someone.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm just, all of this has just really made me now want to get on VR chat and get into my own avatar.
I've had so many people like contact me and be like, damn it, you're making me spend money. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, there were so many people that bought equipment because they saw my videos and they're like, oh, I want to buy a headset now. And I'm like, but yeah, it definitely blew up, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to look for a headset. I mean, if the whole VR world, if getting into VR just meant, just getting a headset, then I would be like, I'd be on it yesterday. But I really don't know if that's really possible. If I actually need to like plug it into a computer, or need to plug it into a gaming console or something, and have it run through that way.
Yeah, there's newer versions of Oculus, like the Oculus Quest and things that are technically standalone. You don't need a computer, but they're so limited. Like yes, you can get in VR chat with a Quest, but if you get in, you will see like most of the custom avatars that everybody has. They're not Quest optimized, so you'll just see like a bunch of robots. Like if you can't load it, it'll just give you like a robot avatar. So
that's weird.
Yeah, it's really limited. So like they always say, oh yeah, you can use VR chat and Quest. Like yes, you can, but you're getting like half the experience, and you're not seeing everything. And I'm not sure exactly how that works. And there's also a way to do a wireless with the computer and the Wi-Fi. I have no idea because I have the old one. But yeah, you still, I mean, to really experience it, you need to have at least the video card with like 4 gigs of memory and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So I'll definitely look into that. But anyway, we are running close to time, so I would actually just like to thank you for joining us on this very comfy evening.
Thank you so much for taking time out to join us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Thank you. And before we go, if there's any links or any way that you want to just toot your own horn or just show, or just any Twitter links that you want to give out, go ahead.
Just the Coopertom on Twitter if you want to follow me there. And my YouTube channel is just YouTube, / Coopertom on there, and I have a whole bunch of VR chat and fursuit videos and all sorts of stuff on there. And I'm just Coopertom on VR chat if you want to hit me up over there too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And anyway, I'd like to thank our listeners and our viewers for joining us on this very wonderful episode of Furry Frequencies. If you like what you hear, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also follow us for great updates on our Twitter at Furry Frequency. Anyway, this has been Furry Frequencies, and we're signing off with Lifty.
Hylox.
Oh, and our special guest,
Coopertom. Yes. Hi. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful night.